We all know that Kawhi Leonard is not a real person. He's a final product of the NBA's cyborg program, deriving samples from prototypes Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, adding the defensive repertoire of Gary Payton and Scottie Pippen, programmed with the social capabilities of Tim Duncan for some reason. But seriously, there's just been some moments where Kawhi Leonard is so good. It just seems like he's a cyborg among players, like the Terminator among humans. Here are just some moments that prove Kawhi Leonard is not human. And in our number 7, Kawhi, most of the time, acts like how you'd expect most humans to act, if a bit quiet or reserved. He does have his moments though, where he has glitches that expose bugs in his programming. Of course, the most popular Kawhi glitch is this one. But I think this more obscure first glitch is even worse.
I'm not sure if he wants me to say that. It's kind of personal. It's personal.
Just peak moments where Kawhi's unintentionally funny.
An emotional Kawhi Leonard with a Christina peak after a big Clippers win.
Even his appearance in the Way Too Sexy music video fits here. And he even gave us this gem recently. Man was just selected as one of the Avengers for the 2024 Olympics, and his reaction to this information was...
Hey. Yeah, he's a...
He's the gift that keeps on giving unintentionally funny moments, man. Arnold's Terminator had his funny moments, playing off the fish out of water trope, or in that case, robot from the future trope. But our favorite robot from the NBA shares another thing with Arnold's T-800, which is, in our number 6, his excellent physique. No, he's not bigger than literally the greatest bodybuilder in recorded history, but he has a fantastic physique, even compared to the rest of the NBA. The rest of the NBA agrees with this too. Here's a listen to JJ Redick and Tyrese Halliburton.
It was like a dead ball or a free throw, and we had an exchange in the previous play, and I kind of just like walked over to him, and I can't remember what I said, but I just kind of like tapped him on his stomach, and I remember thinking to myself, I just touched a robot. Like, this motherfucker is built.
He was like my welcome to NBA strength. Like, he was like, we played the Clippers in LA, and you know, at this point I'm getting like, you know, guys off the bench are guarding me, like guys like, you know, and I'm not that high up on the scouting report. And Kawhi's like, yo, I got him. And I'm like, what's going, okay. And so I come to get a dribble handoff, and his hand is on my hip, and I'm at the 3-point line, I think. And then I get the handoff, I look down, I'm at the logo. I'm like, I don't even know how I got out here. I think he pushed me. It's crazy how strong these guys are.
But hey, that's what happens when you're both one of the best defensive talents and the best perimeter defender in the league. Speaking of which, our number 5 is Kawhi's inhuman defense. Well, more than kind of good. He's a 2-time defensive player of the year, 7 all-defensive selections, fantastic reflexes and IQ. Combined with 9.5-inch hands and a 7'3" wingspan, yeah, he's more than kind of a good defender. He's been the best perimeter defender of the 2020s and has a shot of being known as the best perimeter defender of all time. He didn't get the Claw as a nickname for nothing, and he's proved that over the years with these inhuman defensive feats, like this one.
At 9, Murray takes it and tried to jam and was rejected at the rim.
And it looked like he blocked it with one of those fingers.
Mount Mutombo was wagging the finger. Kawhi Leonard makes blocks with it. Bro, look at that. That's a bionic finger if I've ever seen one. And this one, I bet you remember this play.
His mechanics are excellent. Great. Oh my goodness, what a play.
Diving stop by Leonard.
The Claw was literally looking away from the ball, but perfectly anticipates it and times his dive perfectly. I don't even think a prime Manuel Neuer could do that. Man had his rear sensors on lock in that play. Or he just has amazing defensive IQ and studied the Wolves sets to a T to know that Jimmy Butler would be cutting and would be getting that bounce pass on the same spot. Just sounds more and more impressive as I lay it out. But Kawhi is just that good. He produces highlight after highlight and maintains his poker face every time, which we'll see more of in entry 4. Being hyped after huge plays and or celebrating. Pretty normal for basketball players and even for players in all sports in general. Kawhi only saves these kinds of reactions for the special moments because, as we've seen from this picture, he's the epitome of nonchalance, even when he makes huge plays.
Giannis behind him, gets to Leonard. facial by Kawhi.
Leonard makes his move. Oh! That's a man's jam!
Come off and shoot it.
Harden, blocked by Leonard. Nene, blocked by Aldridge. Spurs basketball. Oh, what a play! Oh, what defense! Kawhi for the win. Oh, mama! 2-point.
That's just a terrific effort there from Kawhi. With the exception of the lockout summer, so.
Look at him and Tim Duncan slowly jog back on defense, as if they hadn't produced the highlight of the night. I could not think of a better mentor to Kawhi than the big fundamental. Now that he's with the Clippers, he shows a bit more emotion when he's making those big plays.
Leonard, 7 to shoot. Kawhi makes his move. Oh, wow!
Basket in the backdrop.
I mean, he does kind of stare down Kleber for a bit, right? But dunking on Kleber in favors is one thing. It's another thing to snatch the soul of the league's MVP, which is exactly what he does for number 3. Now, here, it just shows his elite efficiency and superhuman ability to get the job done, with the Milwaukee Bucks armed with shooters left and right, with all-star Chris Middleton being their best sniper from downtown, all flanking the reigning 2-time MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, Giannis Antetokounmpo. They just destroyed the Detroit Pistons in a first-round sweep, and followed it up with a gentleman's sweep of the Boston Celtics, with arguably 4 all-star caliber players in Kyrie, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Gordon Hayward, reaching the conference finals with nearly the minimum amount of games possible. Kawhi's Raptors, though, they just got off a brutal 7-game series, where the Claw had to go toe-to-toe, band for band, essentially as the team's only superstar, against Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler, pre-nerf Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris. This was a series that he had to grind out and make arguably the craziest shot in the history of basketball in order to go through. And then they had to face the 1-seed Milwaukee Bucks. In the first 2 games, it looked like the end for the Raptors and Kawhi. He and the team looked fatigued, and they went down a 0-2 hole. Then, Game 3 rolls around, and they know that if the Bucks get this one, it's pretty much over for them. So Coach Nick Nurse gets to work. Reprogrammed his cyborg to match up against the Greek Freak. And once the Claw has his switch turned on,
Here's Leonard ahead of the field. Here is Leonard with the runner. Yeah, fouls. There's Giannis. Missed the layup.
It's Hill. Gotta go double.
Leonard. Big ball game. Hawkins pass. Leonard near push back. Leonard all the way in. Puts it down.
he was borderline unplayable after being down 2-0. They ended up winning Game 3 in OT after Kawhi took on the responsibility of guarding the MVP and DPOY. Hell, it looked like he was the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. 30 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists, while also guarding and keeping Giannis in check, en route to defeat the seemingly unbeatable Bucks in just 6 games. He just keeps going and going and going, like the T-800, after being shot by round after round of bullets. And he would go on to defeat the Golden State Warriors, who also seemed unbeatable for what seemed like a good part of the past decade. Cause in our number 2, Kawhi is a dynasty killer. He just has this innate ability to be the guy who ends up ending dynasties, like the Golden State Warriors, whom he prevented from three-peating, en route to giving the Raptors their first ever chip in franchise history. Not only that, he also ended the Heatles dynasty where, by the way, he looked like a mech created specifically to slow down prime LeBron. With all his physical tools and IQ, even as just a third-year player, being tasked to guard the best player in the world in his athletic prime. Hell, you could say he's the one who ended the Spurs' dominance in the West, because they've been competing since David Robinson, to Tim Duncan, to TP and Manu, to Kawhi in 2017, sending them to a rebuild after he left. He's definitely a dynasty killer, in every sense of the word. But we've already discussed his 2 greatest seasons here, so what could number 1 be? For the number 1 entry, it's not his glorious 2019 playoff run, or his first ring and finals MVP in 2014. No, for this one, it's the reason why people call him a cyborg in the first place. But it's also the story that gives him the most humanity. It details how he became so socially different from other players in the league, why he became so nonchalant and quiet, and it dates back to his high school days. When he was just a high school player for the Martin Luther King High School, he was just your normal standout HS basketball star, until his father, Mark, was tragically killed outside his car wash, where he and Kawhi would work together. Kawhi was just 16 at the time, and his dad was trying to get off work early to catch Kawhi's game before tragedy struck. The next game, Kawhi would lead his team with 17 points before collapsing into his mother's arms. He's just learned that his father had died 24 hours earlier. There's just no jokes for this. I can't fathom going through that and still being able to lead my team in a game just a day after. Basketball is my life, and I wanted to go out there and take my mind off it, Leonard said in an interview. It was real sad. My father was supposed to be at that game. And so, there it is. Why Kawhi Leonard acts like a robot on the court. It doesn't seem like he's a human with human emotions. It's not some innate peculiarity. It was caused by the tragic event back in his high school years. But here he is now. Not down by what happened, but inspired by his father every single time he's on the court. Which makes it all the more fitting that he's won his first ring and finals MVP with the Spurs on Father's Day. And with all of these moments of greatness from Kawhi, these moments that show that Kawhi isn't human, but a basketball cyborg, it's all actually rooted in both tragedy and the loving memory of his father. And the way that he turned that heartbreak into greatness is really what makes him seem inhuman, and what makes him a special generation player, and the lovable robot we know him as today.